Hey guys, Brian Fuse Laser here, and today we're going to be doing another preview from Abyss Rising. And the two cards that we're going to be looking at today are going to be Exceed Monster or Exceed Material Support. So basically, Exceed Support. And those two cards are going to be Tannhauser Gate and Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. So first I'm going to be talking about Tannhauser Gate. Tannhauser Gate is a spell that says, is a normal spell that targets 2 face-up monsters you control with 1,000 attack or less and the same type. The level of each of the monster becomes the combined levels of both of those monsters. So the simplest way I can explain this is if you summon a tour guide, you bring out a Sangan, they're both level 3, they're both fiends, and you play it, you play Tannhauser Gate, and you make them a level 6 each. Now you can make Photon, Bouncer, pretty easily. You know, you can make it pretty easily. Or let's say you have whatever 2 level 2s on the board that are both 1,000 each. Like let's say Giant Germ, you can make them level 4s and go into a rank 4 Exceed instead of a rank 2 like a Gachi Gachi or whatever else you were going to do at the time. So that card's kind of cool. It's very situational, obviously. You're going to have at least 2 monsters on the board with the same type and the same attack or close, like 1,000 or less. So they have to be 1,000 or less, both of them. So it is a little situational, but it leads into some powerful combos, gives you opportunities that you normally wouldn't have had. I wouldn't say that this is going to become a staple, but I'm sure somebody will find a way to use it effectively in some deck. Now, the next card I'm going to be talking about is Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. This card is amazing. I actually saw him in a couple decks in Japan a while ago, and when I saw him, I was like, this dude is ridiculous. He's so good. Like, I can't wait for this card to come out because it's so good. Basically, what he does is he's level 4 warrior, Earth, 1,000, 1,000. So you can see kind of where the trend, I'm going with this episode is. Okay, his effect is an Exceed monster that was summoned using this card as an Exceed material gains this effect. When it is Exceed summoned, it gains 1,000 attack. That's ridiculous. I mean, it sounds very simple, but sometimes very simple effects are the most effective. So let me put it in perspective for you. Let's say you made a level 4 or a rank 4 Exceed. So I'm going to go on DN and look up a few rank 4 Exceeds that don't have very powerful attack. Very powerful attack stats. So Steel Swarm Roach. If you make a level, he's a rank 4. That guy's level 4. You make Steel Swarm Roach. You now have a 2,900 Steel Swarm Roach that can stop special summons. That's pretty good. Heroic Champion Excalibur. He's a warrior, so let's say you play him in a Bubble Beat deck or some kind of elemental hero deck or just even a warrior toolbox, just whatever. You get him out with 2 warriors, you get him and another warrior out. You now have a heroic champion who has a base stat of 3,000 attack and who can double it to 6,000 attack. That's pretty amazing. Maestroke would now become 2,800 attack. Okay. And even if you wanted to go as far as to say wind up Zenmeister, if you use Zenmeister, he would now become 2,900 attack plus his 600 attack, so he would be 35. He would be 35 right off the bat. And then you could use his effect and whatever. So that's just an example of what you could do with the level 4s. Now let's say you played some trickery, and you used that guy to go down some levels or up levels, whatever. You used Tannhauser Gate, and you made him and another monster level 7, the same type. So it has to be a warrior with at least 1,000 attack, and him on the board at the same time. You could make a big eye really big. You could make a 3,600 big eye that can now steal your opponent's monsters. So 3,600 sitting there on the board, looking at your opponent in the face saying, what are you going to do now? Essentially. And, that's fairly scary. If you can make him into a level 6, you could have a level 30, a 3,700 attack Photon Bouncer sitting on the board, staring your opponent down. Now they have to worry about a beefy 3,700 monster attacking them who can also negate their effects and burn them for 1,000 damage. Or even if you make, Blade Armor Ninja, you can make a 3200 Blade Armor Ninja that can attack twice. That's pretty good. Or let's say you made him into a level 3 somehow, and you got another level 3 on the board. These things aren't hard to do. They're just not normally done. So, let's say you made him into a level 3, and then you made, a Zen Mains. You would now have basically a 2500 Zen Mains on the board. That's a formidable monster now. Zen Mains is already formidable because it takes so much to get him off the board. Now you have a 2500 monster who can attack into Monarchs, who can attack into, assuming they didn't get him off the board with their effect, but who can attack into Stardust Dragons and survive, who can attack into just other things that are just, were too big before for him to handle. Let's say you somehow make Shockmaster. Now you have a 3300 Shockmaster who's just negating effects all over the board. Actually, I don't know how that one would work, because he gains the effect of whatever. But, let's say you get the Shockmaster on the board, and you negate spells instead. So you negate spells, or negate traps. Now, you have this beastie Shockmaster on the board, who you can't even get rid of, because he's negating your spells or traps. Or, let's say you make him a level 3 and make a Leviar. So you make a Leviar who is 2800, who could bring back 4-star monsters. 4-star lower monsters that have been removed. So you can see the combos there. There are combos that he can do, crazy stuff, But I think that monster is very amazing. I think he will become a staple in a lot of decks. He's a warrior, so you can search him with Rhoda. He can be brought back to your hand with Warrior Returning Alive. He has a lot of support. Warrior decks are very powerful. I think that card, the Heroic Challenger Extra Sword, will see play. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, in Japan, he is a common. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got bumped up to a super or an ultra in America. I mean, he's just like that good to me. He's really good. So, yeah. That's basically the preview for this particular episode. Had an Exceed theme. If you like the episode, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to see when I put out new videos. And thanks for watching.